It is now, can you hear me okay? Okay. It is now 7 p.m. Welcome to the Monday, June 1st, 2026 Town Council meeting. Our meeting this evening will be broadcast live on the Town of Double Lake YouTube channel. Once on the channel, please click on the live button. Out of respect for all those in attendance, please refrain from talking to other members of the audience during the meeting and silence electronic devices while in the Cook Wilkinson Community Government Room. I'd like to ask our Town Secretary, Daisy Torres, to please call the roll.
Okay, Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wellen,
Here.
Councilmember Wortney,
Here.
Councilmember Blush, Councilmember Bump,
Here.
Councilmember McCormick.
Here. We have
We
a
have a
quorum.
quorum.
Thank you. Councilperson Chris Bump will now lead us in an invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, thankful for the blessing of this peaceful and tranquil town you have entrusted to us. We thank you for the families, neighbors, and friends who make this community strong and treat us with people of charity, wisdom, talent, integrity, and compassion. Lord, you have surrounded us with citizens who give generously of themselves, who care for one another, and who seek to preserve the values and spirit that make this place special. These blessings, we give you thanks. As you once called out through your prophet Isaiah, asking, "Whom shall I send?" let each of us answer with willing hearts, "Here am I, send me." Send us to serve with humility. Send us to lead with courage and wisdom. Send us to protect what is good and right. Send us to be peacemakers, good neighbors, and faithful stewards of this town, its resources, and its future. Grant us discernment in times of challenge, unity in times of division, and grace in all of our dealings with one another. May this community continue to be a place of safety, kindness, honesty, and peace for generations to come. May we never take for granted the beauty of peaceful streets, caring neighbors, and the freedom to gather together in fellowship and purpose. Lord, guide our leaders, strengthen our families, protect our children, and let all that we do reflect honor to you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Councilperson Dan McCormick will now lead us in the pledges. If you could please rise.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
That was me.
All right. Item 2, citizen comments, non-agenda subjects. The town council welcomes and values citizen input, and a portion of each meeting is set aside for comments on non-agenda items, which means topics not listed on the meeting agenda. If your comments relate to an agenda item, you'll have the opportunity to speak when that item comes up, when recognized by the presiding officer. Please step to the lectern and state your name and address for the record. Each citizen has up to 3 minutes to speak. Council members will listen closely, but they will not respond or enter into discussion during this time. This is a procedural rule designed to allow everyone a fair chance to be heard and to keep the meeting moving forward. Please also know that all meetings, including citizen comments, are recorded as part of the town's official record. We ask that all comments be respectful and orderly. Personal attacks, profanity, and disruptive behavior are not allowed. If rules of conduct are violated, the presiding officer may call the speaker to order, issue a warning, or require the individual to leave. If necessary, law enforcement may be asked to intervene. These guidelines are in place to ensure that every citizen has an opportunity to speak in a fair and respectful environment and that town council meetings remain productive and professional. This evening, we have quite a few folks who have signed up, so we're just going to take them in the order that they signed up for. So first up this evening is Joanne Meyer.
Oh, God. There we go. Hi, I'm Joanne Meyer. Well, oh wait, here we go. There we go. Got two places. Hi, Joanne Meyer, 170 Park Lane. On Saturday, at the Bahama Bucks Police event, one of the council people here spoke to me and told I told him that I was not happy with the lies that had been told about Mayor Patrick Johnson. I told him that I didn't like it, and he told me, well, that it's politics. And then he told me that it was also politics when Abe Lincoln ran for president and was treated the same way, that it's politics. I looked at the cartoon drawings on Google of Lincoln. They reminded me of the cartoons of Patrick Johnson with the Pinocchio nose posted on Facebook. What is done to one person doesn't make it okay to do it to another. I thought we learned from history, because you just remember Abe Lincoln was assassinated. Or was that politics?
Thank you. Folks, please, we need it to stay orderly. Kendra Stevenson.
Hi, Kendra Stevenson, 4801 Steinbeck Circle, Flower Mound. I'm here on behalf of Direct Retail Partners to just give a quick update of where we are with the design of the shopping center. We spent the last couple of months doing a drainage assessment of Caruth Estates and the property to the south. And after that was completed, just the state of the drainage infrastructure in Caruth Estates, we decided that the best thing for us to do is to work with the Lantana Water Board, and they've been awesome. We've developed a method to take the drainage from the detention ponds directly into the Lantana pond that it goes to. It ultimately ends up today in Lantana. So what that ultimately does is it takes about 15 acres of water that's now draining to the south and to the west into Caruth Estates. It removes that and just takes it to Lantana. Other things that we've addressed in the ordinance that we'll be bringing to town staff soon are traffic, lighting, and noise regulations, just to name a few of them, as well as everything else that had just already been in the ordinance. If anybody would like to set up a meeting to discuss any of the changes that we've made with us, we're happy to meet with anybody, and they can call me at 214-707-6117. Thanks.
Thank you. Nan Bowen.
Nan Bowen, 100 Royal Oaks Drive, Double Oak. I'd like to, before I get started, tell everybody if you're interested, the fire department will be asking for volunteers for the 4th, of course. 10 to 12 and 12 to 2 are the shifts if anybody wants to sign up to volunteer. Lots of things. Okay. Approximately 18 months ago at a town council meeting, Mayor Johnson brought up an overpayment of $100,000 to the town of Flower Mound by our previous town secretary, Eileen Kennedy. At several town council meetings, the status of findings of the supposed missing $100,000 check has been requested by residents. Mayor's consistent response was that it had been looked into and researched by Flower Mound, and to this date, no final statement regarding this matter has been given. An amount of this large requires 2 signatures on a check. Were $200,000 checks issued? Were $200,000 checks signed? Because I don't understand why there was an extra $100,000 missing and paid if we hadn't signed 2 checks. Question number 2, why was a check this large not readily found in our normal processing of reconciling the monthly bank statements? $100,000 doesn't slip off a page if it's misfiled in a wrong column. On that note, when I got my open records request from Flower Mound and from Double Oak, I noticed that this check was actually written on March 24th and cleared the bank on April 8th. So it was never missing. It was cleared April 8th and taken care of. Check number and everything match. Question number 3, when the mayor brought 2 Double Oak residents to audit and clean up the books after the departure of the town secretary, which was demanded by the council from what I understand, why was the matter not found and resolved then? If the $100,000 was outstanding and we were missing $100,000 because we overpaid, why was it not found in the audit? I mean, if all the books were clear and they did such a great job, what happened? Question number 4, Double Oak has had a 2024 and 2025 audit. Both were passed with flying colors again. Just wondering where in the world this $100,000 was hiding. When the mayor and town administration at a council meeting going over the initiative to address this matter, or are we just going to continue to point the finger at previous town staff? A statement and explanation of the actual findings of this error would seem to have been the proper, transparent way to handle the issue, and I would appreciate it if that was done. Thank you.
Thank you. Bernie Carrico?
Bernie Carrico, 510 Cross Timbers Drive. I got 2 things tonight. The first 2 addressed to the mayor. I want to personally thank you for taking your weed whacker and cutting those weeds down at Tanglewood and 407. I can now see the traffic coming up at high rates of speed up 407. I know you've done it many, many times before. The second one is, in the last approximately 9 or 12 months, I have conducted a number of research projects where I had access to town staff. You've got one phenomenal town staff in terms of responsiveness to what the data that I needed to get to work on the research projects I'm working on. A couple comments to the new incumbents, or the new town council members. During the 70s and 80s, I ran 4 successful campaigns, and I got to occupy every seat at that dais, plus the town judge. I learned a lot. And the first thing that I learned is campaigning was a whole lot easier than governing. And even though I didn't support you guys, I want to extend an olive branch to you to draw upon my experience as you discern all these items that we're going to talk about tonight on a going forward basis. It's absolutely imperative that this town makes the correct decisions with these once in a lifetime issues that we're now faced with. And I just want to extend my assistance however I can. You know, I hope that, I attended the ethics conference, I guess, on Saturday morning for 2.5 hours. Quite honestly, that's the first one in 52 years I've ever attended in this town. And it was really, really good, David. I learned a lot. I hope you people now understand the rails and who your constituency is. It's not the 585 people that voted for you. It's the 3,000 people, 5 times the number of people that you now represent on a fiduciary duty. I don't want any adverse reaction to happen because of the decisions we make. This town cannot afford some kind of a lawsuit. Thanks for your cooperation.
Thank you. Please, folks. Len Vigil. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Len Vigil, 326 East Cruth Lane, Double Oak. Cruth Estates, the hotbed of dissatisfaction. Anyway, all right, so I've got a little anecdote to tell you. So on December 13th of last year, we all went to, had met with David Watson, and he was gracious enough to say that anybody who wants to meet with them, he'd be more than glad to come out and meet with us and talk about the project. So we had some stuff going on in our family. We really didn't do anything till probably towards the end of February. And he and Chris Hips were gracious enough to came to our home and we sat in our dining room, around our dining room table, and we were telling him that we had meant to set this up sooner, but there was an illness in our family, and that our son-in-law had back surgery, spinal surgery. And so Mr. Watson was curious about, we happened to mention the institution that he went, had this surgery, and Mr. Watson had a lot of curiosity about that experience. Well, it turns out that he is on a charitable foundation related to it. And when we told him that it had been such a positive experience, and that our son-in-law couldn't have been happier with the doctors and the treatment and the rehab and on, he was very satisfied to hear about this. And this kind of occurred, well, we kind of interrupted the sort of presentation. So we go back to the presentation, and we got the map laid out, and he said, he pointed to the store, and he said, well, just to show you our flexibility, the store was going to be 58,000 square feet, but now the Walmart's going to be only 48,000 square feet. Well, we all heard the story about the non-disclosure, and so my wife and I just kind of let it flow. And he mentioned Walmart 2 more times. Now, what's important about this is that I've told the story, I've shared this anecdote with a lot of people, and everybody said, oh, that can't be true because there's a non-disclosure. I honestly believe, first of all, if he had said it was Trader Joe's, if he upsold it, then I'd be skeptical. But I don't think he did. I think he was being very sincere. We had this very informal conversation, and I think he let it slip. And like I said, I've not talked about it publicly. I want to sort of respect that, but at the same time, I think it's important to know that it seemed to me, I'm pretty convinced. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Len. Mary Johnson?
Mary Johnson, 160 Forest Park Drive. I would like to speak tonight about the importance of maintaining both public participation and public safety in our town meetings. One of the strengths of our community is that residents do care deeply about what happens in Double Oak. Citizens should always have the right to express their opinions, ask difficult questions, challenge decisions, and hold elected officials accountable. Open dialogue and healthy disagreement are essential parts of the democratic process. However, with those rights comes a responsibility that applies to all of us. There's an important distinction between passionate disagreement and behavior that escalates beyond normal public participation. Following the May 19th Town Council meeting, a situation occurred in which Officer Rosie Rojas intervened and escorted Katie Grote or Collins out of the town hall. I would like to recognize Officer Rojas for her professionalism, sound judgment, and ability to help de-escalate the situation. While no criminal charges were filed and no formal complaint were made, that does not mean an incident did not occur. In many cases, successful law enforcement means resolving a situation before it becomes more serious. For that reason, I believe that whenever law enforcement is required to intervene and escort an individual from a town meeting or town facility because behavior has escalated beyond normal public participation, the town should maintain an objective record of that event, regardless of whether criminal charges were pursued. Such documentation is not about punishment, it is about transparency, accountability, and maintaining an accurate public record. Protected speech should always be welcomed in town hall. Behavior that requires police intervention should not be condoned. It reflects a breakdown in the respect and civility expected of all participants in the public process and should be documented as a part of public record. Those principles are essential to public trust. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jean, is it Jeannie or Jean Sims? Okay, well, I want to get it right.
My name is Jean Sims. I'm at
Okay.
270 Oak Trail Drive. I want to first welcome the new council members. Secondly, I'm here to address the flurry of stories floating around regarding the status of the town's health insurance programs and the dental programs. My compliments to Mayor Johnson and Chris Laganar, because they have selected and are working with a very experienced, knowledgeable, qualified insurance broker by the name of Rodney Dwyer. I know this because I've had 2 lengthy conversations with him. Many of you know I'm an insurance professional. I don't practice today, but I have dealt with hundreds of brokers in my life. And my conversations with Mr. Dwyer produced the following facts. The health insurance is in force with no payment issues. The dental insurance is in force and in good standing.
Thank you. Ginger Britton?
Good evening, Ginger Britton, 35 Kings Road. Just a couple of 3 concerns that I'd like to voice tonight. Number 1, I submitted a public information request for the first time. When I received the response packet, page 1 and 2 was a copy of my original request. Page 3 and 4 was a copy of another resident's request that was in my packet. My concern here is confidentiality. Residents should not see other PIRs made by residents. Once the residents receives their information, they can share their information or do whatever they want, however they choose. And attention to detail comes into play here. Number 2, I was looking for information regarding an item from a past council meeting, opened the minutes for April the 20th, 2026. No meetings were posted. Instead, posted was an individual's traffic ticket payment, which included name, date of birth, amount of the fine, last 4 digits of the credit card used. My concern here again is confidentiality, possible liability to town by the individual, and again, attention to detail. In regards to the May 12th special council meeting, we all know that the posting of the start time of the meeting was inconsistent and had to be corrected. In addition to the agenda for this meeting was posted on the town website in a normal Word document format, which enabled editing to the document if someone so choose to do so. This agenda should have been posted in a secure format according to the parameters set by the town website. Again, my concern is secure and accurate handling of town documents, and again, attention to detail of each of these. And I have a copy of the ticket that was posted in lieu of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda Martinez?
Amanda Martinez, 322 East Caruth Lane. At the last town council meeting, residents learned that a process had been begun that could allow alcohol sales in Double Oak for the first time in the town's history. Whether you support that idea isn't really my point. What's concerning is how we got here. Most residents probably assume that this discussion was new, but it's not. According to the town's own records, discussions about bringing alcohol sales to Double Oak dates back to at least August of 2023. At that time, the discussions involved the mayor and the town attorney, David Berman. By early 2026, the records show that council member Mike Gortney, Planning and Zoning Chairman Andrew Weaver, Town Administrator Chris Logner, and former Mayor Bernie Carrico had become actively involved in advancing this effort. Yet residents never heard about any of it. There was no public discussion, no community conversation, and no effort to let residents know that something as significant as changing Double Oak from a dry town was actively being explored by town officials. Residents learned about it only after public information requests were filed and questions started to be asked. And even then, residents still didn't get the full story. Entire emails were withheld from public view. What is so confidential that entire emails have to be withheld instead of simply redacting a name, a sentence, or whatever specific information was considered confidential? The records that were released also show discussions about who would pay for this effort. In one email, Mr. Carrico wrote to several of the town officials involved in these discussions that if this process could be completed for $40,000, direct retail partners will reimburse us at closing or sooner. The records also contain an email from Mr. Carrico stating that direct retail partners could pull the shopping center application if the alcohol referendum is not on the November ballot by August 2nd. If the developer believes this referendum is necessary for the project to move forward, then this is no longer just a discussion about alcohol sales. For all practical purposes, this has become a vote on the proposed shopping center itself. As Mr. Carrico stated in the Cross Timbers Gazette, this change would benefit every current and prospective business in this town, which is a very broad claim. Brahms has a long-standing company policy against alcohol sales. So unless we believe everyone from the veterinary clinic to Sherman-Williams is preparing to submit an application to sell alcohol, then residents should ask themselves which existing business actually asked for this change. I think the reality is much simpler. Residents are being asked to make a permanent change to Double Oak's alcohol policy, and the town's the town's documents suggest that this change is directly tied to the shopping center development. A no vote on this referendum is not a permanent no to alcohol sales, and we need to remember that. If residents decide in the future that alcohol sales make sense for Double Oak, we can always have that conversation, we can hold that election, and we can make that decision. The choice in front of us today is whether Double Oak should make this permanent change to the alcohol policy in order to support this development. Are we voting on alcohol, or are we voting on the shopping center? I think the town's own records show that a vote for one has also become a vote for the
Thank you.
other. Thank you.
Ever Martinez?
Ever Martinez, 322 East Caruth Lane, Double Oak. First, I want to congratulate the newly elected officials. You were entrusted by the voters of Double Oak with an important responsibility to represent this town and the people who live here. That trust is earned, and now the work begins. My request to each of you is simple. Put all residents of Double Oak first, above and beyond all else. Because when we talk about legacy, we are not talking about building shopping centers or short-term wins. We are talking about integrity. We're talking about trust. We are talking about moral and ethical responsibility. During the 2023 mayor election, residents were given a vision for the future of Double Oak. We heard commitments, that leaderships would be financially responsible for the revenues and expenses of the town, listen to the town citizens and work for them, not others not associated with town businesses, maintain and develop ordinances and resolutions to protect citizens and infrastructure, and perhaps most importantly, communicate, listen, and provide leadership while being collaborative and ethical for the citizens of Double Oak. These were your words, Mr. Mayor. Those are powerful promises, and that brings us to today. In March of 2025, residents were told publicly that the fiscal year 24 audit confirmed Double Oak was in a strong and fiscally sound position and demonstrated financial stewardship. That statement matters today because residents are hearing discussions about future financial pressure, projected deficits, and conversations that can leave people feeling as though only one path remains: commercial development. As many residents are struggling to reconcile that, because if Double Oak, because if Double Oak was truly in a strong and fiscal sound position just over a year ago, how did we arrive here? How did we move from financial stewardship to conversations that make residents feel like the choices are accept this development or accept financial decline, approve this direction, or risk the future of this town? Residents deserve to know whether those are truly the only options. Because if development is being presented as the solution, then the town deserves to understand every alternative, every assumption, and every path that was considered before changing the character of Double Oak. Help residents understand why the answer appears to be commercial expansion, shopping center, gas stations, and now discussions about making Double Oak wet. Again, this is not about whether someone supports or opposes development. The point is trust. At at the May 4th council meeting, Mayor, you referenced the rhetoric happening in this town. My question to you is, why has this town come to this? Why are residents frustrated? Why are people requesting records? Why are neighbors showing up meeting after meeting? Why are people that have never spoken publicly before now standing at this podium? I would specifically and respectfully ask that instead of focusing on the rhetoric, focus on the cause. Because rhetoric does not appear out of nowhere. People speak when they feel unheard, people engage when they feel excluded, and people stand up when they believe something they care about and love is changing. As I've stated before, I'm not against change, I'm not against development, but in my opinion, not this development, not this developer, this is not Double Oak. And if decisions are going to shape the future of this town, generations, make those decisions with transparency, with integrity, and with the residents first. Thank you.
Thank you. Mickey Spagnola.
Mickey Spagnola, 319 East Caruth Lane. I think I signed up for the wrong list, but I'm going to ask my questions anyway, and maybe you can write them down and give me answers later on in the meeting. Number one, I wanted to know who, with this petition that Mr. Carrico is behind, who verifies the names on the petition, and how do they verify the accuracy that someone just doesn't come up, write a name down on someone's address, and it's a phony vote or a petition signature. So I think we need to know who verifies that and how do they verify. I didn't have this in my mind, but I was just wondering, and I'm hearing all this lecturing here on people, on the new council members. I didn't hear any lecturing going on when the town council was behind the helipad proposal. And now, all of a sudden, that the tables have turned, I keep hearing all this stuff. Stay off of social media. Social media is going to be the end of our society. So anything on social media, if you're taking it to heart, boy, you're barking up the wrong tree. So I think from now on, this meeting doesn't need to have people coming up here scolding people for having an opposite opinion. And I think we'd be all better off for it. Thank you.
Thank you. David White?
I'm David White, 240 Shady Hill Lane, 34-year resident here in Double Oak, 2 terms on the town council and 1 term on the P&Z. Let's get it out of the way. I'm for the plan development. On the site plan, I have some comments. If they have an exit on Simmons, please consider turning Simmons into a 4-lane road at the exit to 407. On the southbound, add a turn-only lane into the development, and on the northbound side, add a right turn-only lane heading east on 407. I mean, if somebody crowds the center line, you can still make a right turn, but it's so narrow now that it's really a 2-lane road, 1 in each direction. Also, consider a lighting ordinance. I believe Highland Village or Flower Mound has one that you can't have light trespassing onto residential property from a commercial development. And I think that would help a lot in softening the impact of the planned development. I don't know which one it is, but if you look either at the Lowe's parking lot or the Walmart parking lot, look and see at night where the light falls. I think it would help a whole lot. And I'm open, as this gentleman said, to consultation, anything to help us get through this. And Mayor, I believe you're doing an appropriate job for the town, because you do have, and you take it seriously, the fiduciary responsibility for the town first. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Wise?
That could be really confusing. Dave Wise following David White. Dave Wise, 190 Forest Park Drive. First of all, I just wanted to tell all of you thanks for being willing to serve. Your volunteers, I realize that, you're not paid. You take a lot of arrows for sitting where you sit. Congratulations. Congratulations to those of you who were recently elected. So now anyone can put slogans on signs and find what's wrong with things, but now it's time to show what a better path forward looks like, what fiscal responsibility, integrity, transparency look like, government by the people and for the people. And so I will look forward to seeing your continued efforts as hopefully a unified town council and not a divided one. We live in a polarized society anyway out there. I hate to see that in Double Oak, where we live. So I support you and wish you the best in your continued success or in your continued service, and hope you are successful, and appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you. Mark Dietrich?
Mark Dietrich, 155 Foxtrot Lane. I've got several items here. We've heard that the police need to be more accountable. The budget can be managed by trimming the fat, and police vehicles are too fancy. What do? Cancel community outreach events like the Regent Snow Cone Party and attended by one of the ones that want to trim the fat? Cancel our 4th of July parade as the cost of police is too much? Smaller police cars lead to injuries because the weight, the equipment they carry, and the difficulty getting out of smaller vehicles. Higher work comp claims. This all sounds to me like defunding the police. Is that what our town wants, defunding the police? Our police risk their lives to town, and now current members of the town council want to defund them. Also, people have asked, what group would be against the proposed shopping center? We've heard replies, that would be us. Those the replied are now on city council. This all being before official information was presented to even planning and zoning. To me, this looks like bias at the council. Can our town survive this? Is this even ethical? I'm also asking for an investigation into Linda Blesch and her potential misrepresentation of a town representative to the town bank, trying to access town bank information, not being a town representative. This was admitted during the last meeting. It is well documented. In the past meeting, we also heard that we don't want to look at our past. That past includes long-standing administration that appears to promote by entitlement only, maybe even cronyism. If a person was second in line, bingo, you got a promotion. No apparent interview needed. Is this legal in Texas? The rule of the day was to kick the can down the road, don't ruffle the feathers. Rampant overtime was normal, it was built into the schedule. Vacation time was not accurately tracked, violating Texas law and giving free rein to abuse. The books were in shambles, payments as high as $100,000 were ambiguously entered, and we had to rely on the payee to tell us if we were double paid, as our books were apparently not accurate. Now, there's no kick the can down the road. All of the unprofessional ways are gone. Now we have accurate time tracking. Fixing the books took months, and now we have proper tools to manage them. Are those the old times we want back? Now we have professional town hall with interviews, hiring the best of the group, hiring by merit, accurate time tracking, accurate books managed by professionals. Also, we were told there is no law keeping you from answering these questions to me. I'm waiting. Nothing?
What question?
We were told that. We were told you would answer our questions. Thank you.
Please, folks. Thank you. All right, moving on. Appreciate all the input, folks. There might be a couple of things that we do share in some of the items. Mickey, I think you probably wanted to sign up for the agenda on that. I think that'll get covered. Okay? No, ma'am. Ma'am, Katie, please. Please, we're in the middle of the meeting. We're moving on to item 3. What's that? Yeah. So item 3, consent agenda. All consent agenda items listed are considered to be routine by the town council and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Information concerning consent agenda items is available for public review. Council, we have One item, discuss, consider, and act on the minutes of May 19th, 2026. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
I have one, potential one. On item number 15 and 16, it says that the Mayor Johnson administered the statement of officer and the oath of office. I believe instead it should be the town secretary. Daisy.
Other? Linda, you good?
No.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items with the changes that Mayor Pro Tem noted?
I move that we approve the consent agenda items with the changes to item 15 and item 16 as noted.
Is there a second?
Second? I second.
Thank you. It's going to take me a minute to learn your voices. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Wellen and a second by Councilperson Bump. Daisy, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Wellen,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Blush,
Aye.
Councilmember Bump,
Aye.
Councilmember McCormick,
Aye.
All right, the item passes. Thank you, council. Moving on to item 6, mayor, council members, and staff reports. I usually start and go kind of one side to the other, so I'm going to go ahead and Linda, Councilperson Blush.
I have nothing to discuss at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah, the planned closed session for tonight, I'm a little apprehensive that there's a misunderstanding there. While I certainly understand the notion that anything regarding personnel that is personal should be held confidentially, what the town people were asking us to ask for was essentially the role, responsibilities, authority of the town administrator. And after our presentation this past Saturday, I'm very cognizant of the fact that anything we discuss back there is then not discussable outside of that room. And so I don't want to find ourselves painted into a corner where we discuss the role, responsibility, and authority of the town administrator in closed session and then not be able to explain that to the town. So I think that the closed session might be cut in half by first discussing and open what the public role, responsibility, and authority of the town administrator is before we go into closed session.
If that's the case, we would need to move that to the next agenda because it's currently agendized as a closed session item. So if we need to switch it, then that would be an item that would be discussed at the next meeting, so it'd be agendized properly.
Okay. Then I would move that we, what's what I'm looking for?
Change.
No, but, so I'll move that we change
That's
the
fine.
agenda for tonight to discuss the private personnel issues in the back, but to keep those issues that are public for the meeting on June 15th.
Okay. Well, we've already got the agenda set for today, but I think your request is a fair one, Chris, in terms of we can absolutely share the responsibilities and the duties of our town administrator with the town. That is not a problem.
Okay.
In fact, we'll do that for our town secretary as well and our town treasurer as well. So if that was your concern, then it was just probably just miscommunicated to us, because when we do have a situation where we have to address a town employee, which becomes a human resources, or potentially could become a human resource, that's the reason why we had to go to the closed session. So, yeah, I think understanding better is going to make probably the closed session go fairly quick. But we will absolutely share with the town exactly the role of all of the town employees. In fact, can we get it for the Friday update?
I believe they want to have the discussion at the...
No, I understand, but we can still put it out there ahead of time, what your responsibilities are, and then we can still have it as a discussion item.
On June 15th.
Yeah, if that's the will of the council, sure, be happy to do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, but we still have to go through the agenda as is tonight.
Very good.
Okay? Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Dan?
Good evening, Double Oak. A couple of items. During previous council meetings, one of the things I heard more than a few times from the public is that issues with communicating with the town, not getting responses to emails, phone calls, whatever. Patrick summed it up a couple weeks ago when he said, for us, it's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. And even though I'm already involved in meeting people, I've got a ways to go. But for you people, for the folks that are having issues, if you think you're having an issue with communicating with the town, I just want to give you a heads up that you have another resource available to you. Don't copy me on your first email, but if you're not getting a response, don't hesitate to contact me via my town email, and I promise I will follow up and see what the issue is. The other item that I wanted to bring up is that over the next couple of town council meetings, I would like the council to consider a review of the committee structure. Okay, I've talked to Chris Lagenauer a couple times about the committee structure, and what we found, what I've determined, or what I've been told, it's not referenced in the ordinances, it's somewhat haphazard. So what I'd like to do with the assistance of Chris and other folks is to possibly do a revamp of the committees. We have some committees that, for whatever reason, they just kind of disappeared. We used to have a budget committee up till recently. Want to bring back the budget committee. We also used to have a citizens commission that had the responsibility of reviewing town staff. Again, it's evolved. It's just kind of faded away. Some of these I'd like to consider bringing back, maybe some of them even combining, and even look at the possibility of new additional committees that are appropriate to the needs and benefits of the town. So to do that though, we need people who have an active interest in participation. On the website, we do have an application for volunteer. That's for commissions, both planning and zoning, Board of Adjustments, but it also says committees. So I'd like to reach out to you guys in the audience and online to consider volunteering and referencing a committee that you, even if it doesn't exist, either an existing committee or a new committee, and let's take a look at it. I know I've already reviewed the applications that we received last year. We only received 10 applications last year. Now, sorry to say that a few of the applicants from last year never got a response. They never heard. They submitted an application, they wanted to donate their time, and never got a response back. That's not going to happen anymore. So again, I'm asking the talented people, that's the one thing I found out about this town. We have a tremendous amount of talent within this town. And we're doing our town a disservice if we don't utilize that talent for the benefit of the town. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
I think it needs to be said that we, the town council, act as a legislative body of the town. We don't meet with banks, we don't meet with EMS. That is the responsibility of the mayor and the town administrator, not the council. We approve the budget, we approve contracts. The town council's primary responsibility is acting as the voice of the people. The town council serves as a fundamental checks and balances of the mayor and the town administrator, which leads to my next comment related to personnel who have left the town. The mayor and town administrator oversee these employees. There are 4 town employees who have quit or retired. The town had issue with all 4 of the people who basically were not doing their jobs. One of the 4 is not the police officer. She is leaving for a different reason. The town did not share the dirty laundry of each person that quit or retired. Example of things not getting done is contracts. Pat Wellen made the comment last town council meeting about contracts, and I quote, "When Chris came in, he started going through and looking through every file to find every contract, to understand every date and to understand that." So he put together a master list of that. So they now have a schedule. They do know what's going on, because before he came in, we had nothing. We didn't even know where some of the contracts were. Mayor Johnson confirmed that, and quote, he said, "Correct." Ms. Blesh, and I quote, said, "I find that very hard to believe, but that's my personal opinion, but I think everyone's done a great job in the past and in the future. There's no need to put past administration down or past councils or anything like that. Let's just move forward." There's a saying, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it, or a version of that is, those who do not learn from the history are doomed to repeat it. Just because you find something very hard to believe doesn't mean it's not true. I think that is called gaslighting. No one is putting the past administration down or past council or anything like that. They are just stating the truth.
Thank you. Pat?
Yes, I'd like to thank the police department for the May 23rd summer kickoff party. That was great. It was a lot of fun, and DOWC members, thank you for also showing up and helping out with that. We had a lot of people show up. That was really a good time, and the weather actually cooperated with us. It didn't rain like we were afraid of, and it stayed kind of cool, so it was nice. So I'd also like to thank our town attorney, David Berman, for a good refresher course for me and a great Q&A session with everybody for learning the rules, regulations, and duties of the positions on town council and town boards. So it was a very good session, so thank you very much.
Thank you. We're about almost an hour in here, so I'm going to just go ahead and be fairly quick and brief with my comments tonight. First and foremost, I'm looking forward to working with the new council members. So thank you for working with us, and we look forward to how we're going to be able to drive the important matters in the town. Sometimes it gets a little monotonous, boring, budget items, things like that. But at the same time, I do look forward to working with you all, and obviously continued work with Pat and Mike. So with that said, I'll just kind of stop there, and we're going to go to Public Works Code Enforcement.
Yeah, I'd like to provide some updates on what's been going up Public Works-wise over the last couple of weeks. We have sent the code enforcement letter for weeds to the property at 505 Kings Road. So we're waiting for them to clean up that property. During the month of May, we issued 22 permits. Additionally, we repaired some stop sign that was broken at the intersection of Cross Timbers and Simmons. That has, Marshall told me today that has been completely repaired now, so got that done right away. We also, one of the things we've been working with Marshall on is to identify areas in the city and have him be driving around for those sites that are improvements that are being done without a permit. It's a priority that we're working on for the last couple of weeks. He personally identified 3 sites just by driving around of people that didn't have a permit, red tagged it, made sure we got the permit. So just wanted to share with you one of the priorities that we're working on with that. Our new permitting and code enforcement software is now live. I would like to thank Nan Bowen. We kind of had her help out on the back end to review it, so thank you, Nan, for doing that. And we're excited to get that going. Much like any new software that you roll out, there's always a few bugs that happen that you find out that you weren't anticipating, so hopefully those will go smooth, but we're just excited to get that out. And also, we have followed up on 5 code enforcement issues over the last couple of weeks. Just so you're aware, what we try to do with code enforcement, whenever something's brought up, instead of just sending a letter right away, we try to go out and talk to the homeowner first and say, hey, you know what, this was brought up. If we can get a hold of them, great. So we try to take that personal approach first. If they don't do it a matter of time, well, you know what, then we start sending the letters and making it official. But over the last couple of weeks, we have talked to 5 homeowners about improvements that they need to be making. So we've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks in public works and permitting. And with administration, if I could just move to that really quick, we are beginning the preparation for the budget process. I sent you all an email, kind of kickoff email to kind of start what I call the strategic planning side of it. So please, if you haven't checked your emails, please do. And if you have any questions about it at all, because it's something new that we're trying this year, please give me a call. I'll be more than happy to talk to you and kind of let you know what's happening with that. And finally, at the end of this week, I will be attending the Texas City Managers Conference, which is located in Arlington. I'll be there on Friday and Saturday.
Thank you. Have you shared with the council the tentative budget calendar?
I have not. I wanted to finalize it with you, and I was planning on bringing that to council at the next meeting.
Okay, so we're working on a calendar so that everybody can put these important dates in your calendars to be at these meetings. And it looks pretty good, but I'll just go over it with him one more time, and then we'll get that out to the council.
Thank
That
you.
work?
Yes.
All right.
You do the better.
Public safety.
Yeah, I only had one item in my notes tonight, and Mayor Pro Tem Willen kind of beat me to it, but we had our summer kickoff last Saturday. Great turnout. The officers really enjoyed talking with all the Double Oak residents that came out to visit with us, and I'd like to give special thanks to Double Oak Women's Club for their help in pulling that event together, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Chief Eric. The one and only Chief Eric is here tonight. And thank you, because I know you have busy Mondays.
Oh, yeah. I'll be quick. Welcome to the new members. Same goes for y'all. It's always been the case. If y'all ever need anything, look for my Jeep in the parking lot, email the station, email me, call me. I can meet with one or more of you as long as we don't break rules about quorums. We'll be fine. That was all I wanted to address with y'all. I wanted to thank publicly Luke Reidinger, who lives in Double Oak, and his family. He is with the Boy Scout troop, and they're the ones that built the new fence on the backside of the fire station. You know, our old one was falling apart, and so for his Eagle Scout, he came to us and said, could we do it? We said, we'll pay half. And they ended up doing all the work. And there's a couple little things they need to button up, but he got it done before he turns 18, so it's not my end to ensure he gets his Eagle Scout, but when they come to me and say, did he do it, I will sign off on it. But I just wanted to, I don't even know if he watches or anything, but at least I wanted to publicly acknowledge that they did a really good job, and it was just him and the dads and the other leaders. We were prepared to help. We lent them some tools, and they did all the work. So what you see out there is all our local scout troop. Third, 4th of July is coming up. If you do want to volunteer as just a volunteer, you do get one of our t-shirts that says volunteer on the bottom. It's about all I can pay you. Stop by and let us know, or the easiest thing is to email the station at station550, so station550 at dovfd.org. That way, whichever one of us is in charge, or if one of us is out of town and is taking point while that person's out of town, we can funnel it to the right person and just kind of start building a list of those who said they've got time, even an hour if you want to. We're not begging, and we certainly don't want to twist anyone's arm to come do it. You'll be out in the hot sun for a while. It's not tons of fun, but if you look at it like, hey, I'm participating in a big 4th of July thing in my community, then it's fun. So you're welcome to come help. Any questions I can answer while I'm here?
I had one.
Go for it.
I got the station 550 at dovfd.org.
Org.
Very good, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And anything else for Chief?
We set up on the 3rd, and we can always use help setting up. That's almost the sweatier day. And then the 4th is the more fun day. And then we're usually done around 3-ish, 4-ish, or we let the volunteers go early, and then we kind of finish things up. The last thing that gets done is inside the fire department, because everyone's been trekking in and out all day, and which is fine. But you don't have to be there all day. Okay, thank you.
What are the responsibilities of the volunteers?
It depends on what you can do. There's all sorts of things that we can try to find. It might be, hey, can you watch the kids on the water slide for an hour? Can you help sell these tickets? Can you work with one of our guys just to check garbage cans every hour or so, because we try to keep them from getting overfilled? There might be something in the morning when we're setting up, just doing paperwork in the office. What'd you say?
Food line.
Oh, working the food line sometimes, yep. We try to fit where, nope. Nope, you'll see us in our t-shirts, our new t-shirts for this 4th of July, and we'll be ready to do that. You can put out political fires if you want while you're hanging out, but just not my fires. But that's it.
Thank you, Chief.
You'll, as usual, if you come up with something an hour from now, I'll just run
All
back
right.
over here.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
See you later.
Thank you. Roads Committee.
Yeah, I'd like to give a quick update on the Roads Committee. Even though our council member who was the liaison is no longer here, the Roads Committee has been active, and the chairman, Jeff Cronell, sent me last week their recommendations for mill and overlay and crack seal program for the upcoming season. I'll be meeting with our Public Works engineer to go over the roads that they identified, and just real quick, I'll let you know what they are. Brown Cliff, Tanglewood, Oak Trail on the south end, Valley View on the west end, La Vista, Meadow Knoll north section, and Oak Grove Court. Those are the ones that I will be meeting with our engineer to get further analysis on, put together some preliminary proposals to present to council to do an RFP to begin the work on those. So that's what's happening with that. They also identified roads for our crack seal program for upcoming year. Those are Tanglewood, Rancho Vista, South Chin Chapel Road, Cross Timbers, Twin Lakes, Oak Grove, Lake Trail Drive, Chapel Court, Berry Hill Court, and South Forest. So we'll be putting a bid together for that, get quotes, and bringing that price to council. So I just want to let you know that the Roads Committee has been working. Jeff Cronell did a great job of kind of keeping that project going during the transition with council, and we're moving forward with getting those things bid out.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Obviously, once we've identified all these, and we will go out to bid or out, whatever your process is for getting pricing, if it exceeds budget, has Jeff prioritized? So he can say, these are the ones we need to get done first?
Yeah, I read them to you in priority order that he gave me. And then when I will, obviously, once we get our hands wrapped around it, when it gets down to budget, obviously, as a part of the work that we get from our engineer, is he'll be putting cost proposals together, especially for the mill and overlay one, because that's the big dog. I mean, that's the one. So then at that point, we'll come to council and say, okay, we want to allocate 200, 300, 400, whatever number council decides to allocate for that year, then we'll get the best bang for our buck based upon the analysis that's going on.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, real quick, does Jeff or any other committee chair, do they submit minutes from their meetings or reports, except like in this case where there's actually a list of items?
Typically, there are minutes in the committee that are shared within the committee members and given to the council liaison. That's why at every council meeting, the council liaison will give an update based upon the minutes from the previous meetings.
Okay, but they're not necessarily on file here at Town Hall?
Not at this point, because these are advisory in nature.
Okay, thank you.
Drainage Committee.
Drainage Committee is still looking at what we would like to propose to the town for references on Cross Timbers. We're working through that.
Because we're in need of the town engineer.
Yes.
For that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the town engineer is working with the Drainage Committee on multiple projects, yes.
Okay, all right. Ordinance Committee.
Okay, Ordinance Committee has been hard at work. We've submitted some things to our town attorney for him to review, and hopefully we'll have them back for our next council meeting for the council to look at and vote on. And I'm not going to steal Yvonne's thunder, but we have Yvonne from Play Strategies who is helping us make some of those changes, so he'll be up later to speak. So that's all I'm going to announce right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on with the agenda, new business agenda, item 14. So council, how this works is we are going to take a nomination for a mayor pro tem first, and then we'll do the exact same thing again with the deputy mayor pro tem. okay? And in that, how the process works is, I nominate so-and-so. I'll write it down. I'll ask for other nominations, so we'll write down the names, and then we'll go through a vote in the order that they come in, or they're written down on. And then once we have a full vote on, or a majority vote on any one candidate, then that becomes the mayor pro tem, and we'll do the same thing for the deputy mayor pro tem. So we could have 3 names, but the first one gets 3 votes.
Ends it.
It's done. Make sense? So any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up. Are there any nominations for mayor pro tem?
I nominate Dan McCormick.
I second that.
Oh, we're not going to a second yet. Any other nominations? No other nominations? All right. So then, now, we have a nomination. Is there a motion to approve Dan McCormick as mayor pro tem?
I motion that we approve Dan McCormick as our mayor pro tem.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilperson Blesch. We have a second, Councilperson Bump. Daisy, can you please call the vote?
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Willen,
Aye.
Councilmember Gorney,
Aye.
Councilmember Blesch,
Aye.
Councilmember Bump,
Aye.
Councilmember McCormick,
Aye.
You were supposed to abstain.
I checked, I don't have to.
I know. All right, then obviously the vote for approval of Dan McCormick as our new mayor pro tem of Double Oak. Here in a minute, we'll play the chair shuffle, but we now need to do the same exact process for a deputy mayor pro tem. Are there any nominations for deputy mayor pro tem?
I nominate Pat Wellen.
I nominate Chris Bump for deputy mayor pro tem.
Okay. Other nominations, council? No other nominations? All right. So now, is there a motion on the vote of Pat Wellen as deputy mayor pro tem?
I move that we vote on Pat Wellen as deputy mayor pro tem.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilperson Gortney and a second by Councilperson McCormick. Daisy, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Gortney,
Aye.
Councilmember Blesch,
Nay.
Councilmember Bump,
Nay.
Councilmember McCormick,
Nay.
Mayor Pro Tem Willen,
Aye.
So by my count, we have 2 ayes and 3 nays, correct? All right, we now move on to a motion for Chris Bump as deputy mayor pro tem. Is there a motion, council?
I move to appoint Chris Bump as our deputy mayor pro tem.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilperson Blesch. I have a second by Councilperson McCormick. Daisy, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Willen,
Aye.
Councilmember Gortney,
Nay.
Councilmember Blesch,
Aye.
Councilmember Bump,
Abstain.
Councilmember McCormick,
Aye.
I believe that is a 3-1.
3-1.
All right. Chris Bump is now the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem of Double Oak. Now, folks, just give us 2 minutes to do the shuffle, okay? So
Can we just start at the next council meeting as far as playing musical chairs?
if you as the elected...
We're fine with that.
You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, I am too, that's fine.
Yeah, we're going to be here longer than we all
Correct.
want to be anyway.
So, I am totally fine, so we'll have
All
the
right.
dais all set up for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you all for doing it very democratically, efficiently. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Moving on, item 16. This is about, so we have 4 open spots, to which the former council members were the liaisons for the town. And this isn't necessarily we have to go through some sort of a vote thing. So we have Roads Committee, Technology, Police Department, and Board of Adjustments. Is there an area, because we've already got, the current members have their roles, is there an area that you all would like to step in and?
Question.
Yeah.
I would want to give the existing committee liaisons the opportunity to confirm that they'd like to stay as the liaison for those committees. So I'd like to, Councilman Wellen and Courtney.
I would like to stay as an ordinance committee meeting, or committee liaison, because we're making good progress, and I don't want that to
Yeah,
slow down.
I went to the ordinance meeting, I was very impressed.
Okay.
And I'd like to stay with drainage.
Okay?
So now we have roads. So,
So,
I was on the list to comment
oh,
on this agenda item.
I apologize. You are correct.
That's all right.
I missed that. Sorry. So please come up and identify yourself. Very sorry.
Not a problem. We caught it in time. Jean Hillier, 170 Trailing Oaks Drive. I was looking at this list of the vacant council liaison appointments, and just to refresh my memory, I went back to the first year I was on town council, which was 2022, and at the June 6, 2022 meeting, the town council, item agenda 16, the council agreed on all the liaisons, not just the ones that were vacant, as a result of the elections. Then in 2023, the liaison discussion for the June 19th meeting was postponed to the July 17th meeting. And actually, that was taken care of at the August 7th meeting. And once again, all of liaisons were reviewed and approved by the council, not just the vacancies. And in 2024, the liaison appointments were again postponed to a future meeting. So my point is, I suggest, since you're limiting this to only the ones that are vacant, which is not historically really the way it has been done in Double Oak, that this agenda item be postponed to the next meeting, and all of the liaison appointments be subject to council discussion and approval. Thank you.
Thank you. So is there an interest in terms of any one particular vacancy for either of y'all?
question.
Technology.
Yeah.
Question, did Courtney just give up P and Z by saying that he wanted drainage? Because I have him down for P and Z and drainage, and he said he'd like to keep drainage, and if that's the case, I'd like P and Z.
What?
I'm on P and Z.
Yes.
I need them on P and Z.
Well, it says on the sheet your P and Z, so if that is a vacancy, then I would still like to go forward, and I don't know how we would do this. I do move that we take all consideration for all liaison appointments or positions until the next meeting, where we can talk about all the liaison line items, I guess, or committees, or whatever, to discuss them and better clarify who wants what. And because the 4 that are listed is Very small,
I'm sorry, it's what?
very small. That's only 4 vacancies. And with Gordon just saying he wanted drainage, then that also puts more confusion in what liaison is going where or how we're doing that, because he is listed as the P&Z liaison on the sheet of paper that I have, which is probably the same one you all have. And if that's the case, then I would like to be the P&Z liaison.
Yeah, I would kind of like to build off of this a little bit. I question the need for a liaison for the police department. I mean, the chief is here every time, so what exactly would that liaison do? To that same, I guess, vein, we currently have a liaison for the fire department, and of course, that is you. And again, there's never a report on that. Any kind of report we get from Chief Eric, so that seems like a pointless liaison as well. So I think there is value.
To move it.
I mean, there's a great deal Dan mentioned earlier about the things we want to do with the committees, both as far as size-wise and liaisons. I think there's a great deal of room for discussion around what the actual role of the liaison is. I was in that same meeting as Dan last week, and where Pat's ordinances committee was very impressive, it was also apparent that prior to her arrival, nothing had been going on. And that would suggest that it was not a function of the current committee so much as a function of Pat. And that's not the role of liaison. I mean, she clearly came in and got the fire started, but liaison shouldn't be doing that. So I think there's a lot of room for discussion. And to that end, I would agree with Linda that I think it's worthwhile to postpone discussion about filling these positions and what Dan wants to do with committees going forward.
And so I do want to make a clarification. There were 2 people on it, and they were doing things before I came on. They just needed me to help shepherd it through to the town attorney and town administrator. That was my role.
Yeah, what she said to us was we didn't have a meeting for 4 months prior to your arrival. So they weren't doing much.
They had some, but they had not had many because of other things. But yes, I took it on and said, we got to move on this.
Yep.
Patrick, if we're able to assign liaisons today, to fill in the blanks, I do want to come back at a council meeting in the near future, maybe not the next one, but to actually have a committee structure present to the council for review and possible acceptance. So at that time, would it be appropriate to have the opportunity to reevaluate the liaisons, or are we stuck for a year with these liaison positions?
Well, first and foremost, we do have a structure. It's basically the appointments that we've had there. There was it a resolution, or was that we did?
Is a resolution.
There was a resolution to where we organized it better. And I think that the work that the current council members have done on their committees should be duly noted, and also should be continued until the end of their tenure as a council person.
In the resolution, it has them going through year end, and then at the beginning of the year, I believe is the way it's stated in the resolution, that's the time when you would appoint new members and look at changes.
Right, and that in itself needs to be addressed, because we've got committees with nobody in them or too few people in them, and the idea that we're going to wait till January to fill those just draws everything.
Yeah, it's been a problem for many years in terms of getting the right type of volunteers to come in. It isn't just grab a person, fill a seat. It's kind of the way it was done for many years. Obviously, we like to look and see if, that we've got quality people that are signing up, that we have people that are in the best interest of the town. And so that's why there's more of a vetting today than there ever was in the past. And so what I don't want it to turn into, and we will make sure we don't do this, is that it becomes a free-for-all, stripping current council people of the duties that they have been working on We want consistency, we want continuity. And so I don't have a problem with postponing this item to a future meeting. That will give me time to sit down with Chris and get the appropriate item agendized for the future.
Okay.
So with that said then, I'm going to go ahead and
Probably ought to have a motion to postpone, yeah?
correct. So is there a motion to postpone?
I motion to postpone the election or appointments of liaisons till the next agenda, till the next regular meeting, with more detail on what liaisons do and their role in the committees and/or commissions.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilperson Blesch and a second by Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Bump. Daisy, can you please call the vote to postpone?
Mayor Pro Tem Dan McCormick,
Repeat the motion?
Postpone this.
Just motion to postpone.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Chris Bump,
Aye.
Councilmember Gortney,
Aye.
Councilmember Blesch,
Aye.
Councilmember Pat Wellen.
Aye.
All right, the item is postponed to a future agenda, and we will get it all organized, okay? Make sure I got my list here, so I apologize on the last one. I've got item 17 is discussion regarding communication with Lantana Water on potential sewer service at 407 and Simmons. We have a citizen who did sign up for that item, Mark Dietrich. I'm sorry?
He doesn't want to speak on it.
Okay.
You don't want to speak on that.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So this council members Bump and Blesch had requested this item to be on the agenda this evening, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this came about just from conversations we had with some constituents about concern. And so what I want to find out from town administrator and yourself is what conversations have taken place thus far with regards to sewage going from the proposed development over to Lantana, and more specifically, have any agreements been signed with regards to wastewater moving from the proposed development to Lantana?
Chris?
I'll take it, sure. Second part of your question, no, there are no signed agreements between Lantana Water and the town of Double Oak.
Okay.
Are there agreements in place? I mean, are there agreements to be signed?
No, there's not.
Paperwork?
No, there's not.
So just conversations?
There was initial conversations when the property at 407 and Simmons, when we were told that the property owners wanted to sell it. There was preliminary discussion. Our staff, Randall Anglin at the time, our public works person, reached out to Lantana to see if they have the capacity to assist at all with any type of sewer connection arrangement. Similarly, we currently have a sewer connection arrangement with the commercial development on the east side of town. I'm hoping I'm getting my east and west right, because we actually do provide sewer to that through a agreement that we have with Upper Trinity Water. So staff originally at that time, back in late '23, I think it was, reached out and said, hey, Lantana, do you even have the capacity to do that?
And who maintains those sewage pipes? Who pays for the maintenance and repair of those sewage on the east side? Who pay, if there is a problem, who is responsible for
Maintenance.
that maintenance?
I would have to find that out, Linda. Okay.
To that
Is that
to that
control-
end, If we were to do this, the question it begs is who would be responsible for maintenance?
It's my understanding it's the developer would be responsible for that.
For maintenance and repair?
Yes.
Because the developer.
Forever?
The developer plans to sell this once they get the, certain percentage filled.
Yes.
So you're saying that in perpetuity, they would still be
That
accountable?
would be part of the developer agreement or the plan development agreement that would be discussed.
Could I interject? I might
Yes.
be able to make it
Yes.
fairly simple. On-site facilities are the responsibility of the property owner, whoever that property owner may be. Off-site facilities are the responsibility of the utility service provider. In this case, it would be Lantana.
So,
Really?
wastewater
Yeah.
pipes.
Well,
on
this is sewer.
Sewer.
That would be wastewater, right?
Yes, sanitary sewer facilities are the responsibility of the utility provider that provides those facilities. We have a kind of an unusual and an odd relationship over with Highland Village in connection with the east side of town.
Yes.
My understanding is under these circumstances, I mean, this would not be a part of the town's sanitary sewer system. My understanding is that if we did this at all, and there's no guarantee that we would, off-site facilities, sole responsibility of the utility provider, Lantana, on-site facilities, whoever the property owner may be.
And you got this understanding from conversations with,
Lantana?
No, I haven't spoken with anybody about it. That's how it works everywhere, except for us on the east side of town. But the east side of town is a bit of an unusual circumstance that doesn't apply in this case. But we would not be the utility provider. We would be, and I'm looking for confirmation, Lantana would be the utility provider. We wouldn't be billing for it, we wouldn't be charging fees, we wouldn't be setting rates. We would be a pass-through from the town's perspective.
That
make
is
sense?
correct.
Yeah, and they're right there on the edge of town anyway, so it's just across the border.
So Double Oak would not be responsible for any maintenance or any repairs of the sewage on Double Oak property?
That is correct.
That is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2021, when I first got on council, Mayor Vaughn was the mayor. The Merchant family had a interest from a assisted living facility to go in on that property. We held a meeting right there in the middle of this building, and a whole list of items were discussed with that potential developer. It's pretty much the same list that I shared any conversation I ever had with a developer about the town. No water here in Caruth, we got lighting, there's about 9 or 10 things. In fact, most of the time, once you hear me let the developers know all of these items that they have to be able to address, I'm hoping that's not why they all left, but obviously there's probably been 8 to 12 discussions with different types of developers about that property. And one of the key things that right up front that we are very, very open with anyone who's asking about that development is you have to work with Lantana Water Board in terms of any sort of sewer hookup. The town will not have any responsibility in it, and obviously it's very difficult to have a large development on a septic.
Sure.
You don't really find it very often, and so in many cases, that's an expensive endeavor, right there, by letting them know that, listen, in order to get sewer, we don't have it, there's the capability, potential capability, to hook up to Lantana Water, but you need to work with Lantana Water. That was discussed with 2 developers who took it to the next, they were the first ones that took it to the next level. What that means is they both went over and engaged with Lantana Water to find out what the potential could be. When that occurred, then we got wind that they were over there talking. It just so happens there was this thing called a helicopter that was going on in our town, and they got, the Lantana people got concerned about what is this helicopter thing. So as a mayor, I attended the Lantana Water Board, I signed up and I spoke on citizen comments and addressed the helicopter situation. During that meeting, there was an item to discuss providing capacity to Double Oak for a potential development, to which I spoke briefly on because we're not really doing it. The questions we had, and Chris was there, was basically finding out, is it even feasible? Is it even a possibility?
Is it?
Yes, it is. So
Without tearing up 407?
that is between the developer and Lantana. They're working, that's another piece of this puzzle that they're working on. All right, but it's not a Double Oak, it's not a Double Oak thing. There's no agreements. People were saying, oh my God, we signed an agreement for $15,000. There is no agreement.
Okay, good.
The agreement is between whoever develops and the Lantana Water Board. They have done studies. I think Direct Retail has those. We know that it needs to be addressed at some point in the plan development. The PD, which we will do, but obviously they're busy doing lots of other things right now. So we will address the situation that specifically states that Double Oak will not have any responsibility towards any of the infrastructure, whether it be new or maintenance or ongoing, that has to do with the sewer system or the sewer connection through Lantana Water. That's just, that's it, folks. I'd like to tell you there's more, there's not. And we have, other than Randall finding out for a different developer, because they asked the question, when he did that, they basically came back and says, at this time, we don't think there is capacity. So whatever these two developers did in their discussions with Lantana Water, now it's completely feasible.
Okay. Piece of cake, that's it.
So-
They answered the questions, thank you.
Okay? Yeah, I just want to be clear on it. We're not driving this. Do we need to be in the know as it gets closer? Heck, yes, of course we do.
yeah.
So any other discussion on the item 17?
Not for me.
Lantana Water proposed, just as long as we are stating right here that we do not have a financial obligation to maintain or repair the sewage lines.
That is correct, and that'll be put in the PD. Anything else, council? Okay, moving on to item 18, discussion regarding alcohol petition process. Again, council members Bump and Blesh. And I do have two people that want to speak on that. Thank you. You do know as the mayor pro tem, you got to keep me straight. Yes, you point to things. I have Bernie Carrico.
I'm not too sure where to start. It's going to be very difficult to explain what my role has been and how it came to be and where we are in this process in 180 seconds. So I'm going to go to a conclusion first, maybe dispel any rumors that you all might be exposed to. There has been no collusion between the developer for Retail Direct Partners or any member of this town staff. I got involved because the mayor, sometime I think in late February or early March, wrote a 1,000-word essay on the importance of diversification of revenue for small towns. And it triggered my thoughts. What can we begin to look at to help create additional revenue? And the one that fell on my plate first off was this referendum about liquor. Those people behind you up on that board there were asleep at the wheel in the late 80s and 90s when this town was inundated with people who wanted to develop it. And we should have created this referendum there because we would have been able to attract grocery stores, fast food places, restaurants, and what have you, which is a prerequisite for any developer to build those kinds of establishments. I did about 6 weeks of research to acquaint myself during the month, primarily March, a little bit of April, as to what is this process all about, because it has to be citizen-driven. I contacted the Secretary of State's office, got a 38-page dossier of legalese, and then through some additional Google search, I found one of the former partners of David's law firm, Miss Julie Dosher, who wrote a Cliff Notes version of all that, so I was able to understand it. And it became very, very clear when I began to approach some of the town people, the mayor, is anybody else trying to take this project on? I didn't want to duplicate some effort, because it's a major, major undertaking. And there were a couple of emails going back and forth to me, to Chris, Mayor Johnson. I also touched tabs with Andrew Weaver, if somebody on his committee was undertaking this stuff. And I think those are the items that were subpoenaed under this, the act that Amanda referenced earlier. The only comment I have on those is y'all should go read them. All it is research orientation in terms of what I was doing. And she also lifted some stuff out of context in her speech up here a couple of minutes ago. Once I got comfortable with what the process was, or is, it became very apparent that we had to get a professional organization involved. The citizens don't have the skill sets to conduct this referendum. And all it is a referendum. If you sign this petition, and we now have, it doesn't guarantee that there's going to be liquor sales. It's the ultimate action of democracy to have the citizens vote in a formal way on January 3rd, November 3rd, this coming fall. It's a yea or nay vote. In order to do that, to start that process, I had to abide by some state laws in terms of attaining and filling out an application to start the process. State law says you need 10 citizens. The weekend, let me get my date straight here, I think it was probably around the 15th of April, we got a copy of that application, and my wife and I and a couple of other people knocked on doors in Double Oak. We got 20 of them immediately. We had another dozen or so that also wanted to sign that application. But we took with just the 20, because it had to get certified. I delivered it to Chris's office and town secretary on Monday, the 18th of April, to start the formal process. They then took those. Well, I only gave them the copy of it. I had to go back and dig out the original. So they have the original signatures. You can go and get it. There's not a single person or relative on the original town council that signed that application. Go look at it. The innuendos that this is all an inside job is definitely wrong. And there's evidence if you go look at the records that I submitted and stuff. The town secretary and Chris verified all the signatures. I don't know if they verified 10 of them to conform with the state law, or they did all 20. But on the very next day, we basically filed the notice in the Denton Record Chronicle and the Open Records Law, and paid the fee and all that kind of stuff. Got it all verified, got an affidavit. We delivered that to Chris probably about noon time on Tuesday. And they basically gave us the actual petition that has to be signed by, under state law, at least 616 18-year-old registered voters in Double Oak. And that's what we're going to circulate. We've got a time frame to do that. It's roughly 60 days from wherever the date was on that Tuesday. I think it was maybe the 19th. So we got roughly to the end of July, or middle of July. We get those signatures, we then have to turn it into the city again, and they have to verify all those signatures. They have until, I think, the 19th of August, or whatever that scheduled Monday meeting is in the month of August. I think it's either 17th or 19th. And basically have to order up the petition because we have the required number of registered, approved, certified voters, and it will appear on the November 3rd ballot. The way we came up to 616 is, by state law, simple math. You take the number of people who voted in the last gubernatorial election, which is November of 22. It was a big turnout because we had a lot of statewide seasons. So we had to obtain the certified number of residents on there to make our calculation. And that's some emails going back and forth and all that kind of stuff too. So it was really exploratory in terms of the original communications until we actually started the formal application process and the kickoff on I think it was the 19th of May. 18th and 19th of May were the critical dates. I did some interviewing at 3 or 4 law firms to see if they could help the citizens that wanted to work on this, and was really outside all of their scope, but they introduced me to the firm out of, call it Austin, Texas, called Texas Petition Strategies, which is the #1 firm in the country. They have done 500 of these referendums, all liquor-related, what have you. Texas law on liquor referendum stuff is very, very complicated. And they've got 300 different clients representing 500 of these referendums. Am I on time?
Yeah, so, well, folks, this was an agenda item that was put on here because our council wanted to ask some questions and learn the process. This is educational, all right? Mr. Carrico is up here sharing the information. The town is not, other than checking to make sure, so Mickey, goes back to your question. They have to work with registered voting lists to ensure that whoever signed it is actually a registered voter, and that they are also have an address in the town. So that has to happen throughout this whole process. That is the involvement of the town, of course, handling the paperwork. Everything else that's done here is done by Mr. Carrico and the group of people that are doing this. The mayor's not involved in this. Where the mayor is involved was, again, talking to developers, going down that list of 9 things, was basically stating that, oh, by the way, we're a dry town, so if you want to have a restaurant on your land that you're going to develop, you're going to need to have a liquor referendum, all right? And when this really started was back in 21, I think it was 22, 23, then Councilperson Connie Schoenrad had fielded a request from a potential business that was going to go in on the east side about a liquor referendum, to which then she reached out to our town attorney and says, what does it take in order to do so? Our attorney put together all the thises and the that's and all that sort of thing, and it became basically a stock document that was then used in all future conversations with potential developers that says, oh, by the way, here, if you're really serious about this, here you go. But we are not doing this. The town is not doing this. That is the level of extent of the involvement of mayors, of council people involved in this liquor referendum. Do I know that it's going on? I get bits and pieces, but it's not our project. It's not our town's project, all right? This is a project done by the citizens. And we are always going to communicate the positives and negatives of someone wanting to buy into Double Oak in terms of whether it be a land agreement, whether it be a development agreement. We are not going to withhold information from those people so that they find out after the fact. So we've been very upfront, very forthwith, and the business at the east that then talked about it was the meat market. When they moved over here, the meat market would like to advance their revenue stream because they asked me about it. I said, well, here's what you got to do, but I can't be involved in it. They want to offer beer and wine so they can pair it with their meats. So there's been 3 instances since I was council, mayor, current mayor today, up to this development, which we shared with both of the developers that were interested. So what questions do you have for Mr. Carrico?
Well, the obvious.
I know, Mark, you're coming up here.
Without the referendum passing or the citizens saying they want alcohol, the grocery store and gas station will not come.
I can't answer that question. I mean, that's a question for a
But
developer.
that's what I thought that was being said. I mean, I think I read that, or that I know, I feel I know, that they have suggested that if they do not get that they will pull their application.
They have not suggested that to me. I mean, I did some of my own interpretation probably.
Mark?
Yeah, I was going to say, I did read an email where you said that it was, and I think it was actually to the mayor,
it was safe to assume that if this did not pass, they would pull out.
That was total conjecture on my part, total conjecture. You know, and anybody else?
Folks, please, we're trying to conduct a meeting.
So then we will talk about that later. I want to make sure and clarify that if you get the 619, which I doubt.
It's 616.
609, 619. 609 or 619?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, doesn't matter. So if you get it, and it is a ballot situation, it does get on the ballot, town council cannot stop that because it does go on the ballot. If the citizens want it on the ballot and you get the accurate amount of signatures, it will go on the ballot in November.
That's correct.
True?
With one more caveat, their all signatures are all verified.
And they're all verified? Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Yes. State law mandates that the council will have to order up the necessary information to get it on the ballot, time and place,
Correct.
early voting dates, all that kind of
But it
stuff.
has nothing to do with the actual ballot. So we cannot deny or confirm or do anything other than do that. Once the signatures are there, it is a done deal.
Right. It's very clear if you were to study these 38 pages.
What goes on the ballot?
38 pages of Texas state law. The state and secretaries of state's office, who used to be a Double Oak resident, and the enforcement of it, this is a citizen-centric proposal. It is not a town proposal. or
I just want to
resolution.
make sure that the citizens know that the town council, if the signatures are required, the town council has to let it go.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, they'll know that. They'll
Well-
know that. If they don't already know it, they'll.
Well, no, they won't know it because I didn't even know about it till last week. So,
Well, you should have called me.
well,
Mark,
I don't know if I
Mark,
did
can you
read
come up,
it,
please?
but-
Mark Dietrich?
I have another two
Okay.
comments to make, then I'll sit
Mark, can
down.
you queue up, please? Just hang out up here. Okay.
So Bernie, just for clarification, this is this effort you're putting together is the work of individuals within the town, and of course, it doesn't even have to be in the town. But my understanding is the town itself will not provide any funding for this effort. Is that correct?
That is correct. Plus, we will not take any resources of this town. We will have no communication with this town until we get the appropriate number of signatures. We will advise them by the end of the 60-day period if we're there or not. They will not know on a daily basis our progress. We don't intend to inform anybody of the progress of our effort.
Who's paying? Can I ask one clarifying question?
I'm sorry, we've got a discussion going between our council and Mr. Carrico. We have a citizen that would like to speak on this as well after Mr. Carrico.
Let me make one more clarification, Linda.
sure.
This is about economic development and attracting business and making our current businesses more competitive. It is not a backdoor way to try to get something through the town citizens so that it paves the way for one proposed development, subject development, all this stuff.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I have talked to a number of the other people that have shops up there, including the owners of the real estate. The church does not own all that land underneath those 12 or 14 storefronts up there right now. There is one other
There's
entity.
one, yeah.
Pardon me?
I believe it's the meat market that is not owned.
Well, that's
or-
one of them. There's
Right.
other stuff in the
Well,
works,
no.
too.
Okay.
The meat market, I mean, talk to them yourself. I can't speak for them in a
Right.
public forum like this, but I'll guarantee you,
Oh, they would love it, I'm
it's
sure.
part of their business plan.
Yes.
Very much a part of their business plan. And it has
But
been
it
for a
really
while.
doesn't help. Their business with selling beer and wine is not a lot of tax revenue for the city, which is what we're looking for. Give or
I beg-
take, whatever you want
I
to say.
beg to
about
differ
it.
that, and I can share
Well,
all
that's
kinds,
okay.
all kinds of research that comes with that.
10%, I mean,
Did I
that's-
answer your question, Dan?
Yeah, then I have a question for Chris. The town's not funding this referendum effort in any way whatsoever. Has the town staff, to what extent has town staff participated or coordinated with Bernie's group to move this referendum forward? I know there's a review of signatures, but is there anything else besides the review of signatures and the confirmation and validation of the signatures that town staff has contributed time-wise?
No, there's not.
Okay.
Can I make one modification, Chris, on that? Under state law, they were mandated not to do the certification process, but they had to provide us with the prescribed state-approved ballot, the petition, if you will, with the city seal on it. And we got about 70 of those. It's a 10 signature item per page. So they had to make copies of it under state law, too. So there's some nominal expenses incurred by the city in fulfillment of their obligation once we deliver the adequate petitions on it and stuff, so.
Just so you know, I do come from economic development for East Virginia. So I understand economic and development, and I'm not questioning the way you're doing it. I'm questioning on why we're doing it now. That's all.
It should have been done under the auspices of
Well, that's-
responsibility of all
that's
those people
hearsay.
30 years ago. It's not hearsay.
Well,
That's fact. That's
well-
fact. I've got that from many, many developers,
Well-
that they would have preferred to have
I think
sites up
Double
there
Oak
where their
people like
churches.
the way it is.
It is. That's water under the bridge. But
It
we
is what it is.
can't make that same mistake twice.
Well, it depends on if you look at it as a mistake, but it's okay, Bernie. It's okay.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you very much. I had just one question.
Okay, for Bernie?
For Bernie.
Okay, because we have Mark still needs to.
And you probably have an answer to it, but you were very thorough. The number of questions I came in with were all answered there in your impromptu presentation. Have any of the 20 people who signed, were any of them staff or leadership from the town?
No.
Okay.
Nor relatives.
Okay. Everything else you answered, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Mark, please identify yourself.
Hi, Mark Dietrich, 155 Foxtrot Lane. So the objective of the petition is long-term financial stability that benefits current and future generations. We have all heard all sorts of alarmist opinions. The fact is that our neighboring towns have approved sales, and none of them have wanted to change back. They have all been very successful in allowing their local businesses to be competitive with businesses down the road. Why would we deny this competitiveness to our local businesses? Diversifying revenue streams is a goal of all the surrounding communities, and they are realizing it is a requirement for success. When it's very evident to our neighbors, then how could it not be to us? Keeping a strong, successful town, not dependent on residents' tax bills growing ever higher, is how to preserve our town. The petition is not an election. It's simply allowing citizens to vote. This is not about alcohol sales today. It's about whether our citizens of Double Oak should have the opportunity to decide for themselves. Our local businesses deserve the same opportunities available to our neighboring communities. Our businesses deserve the same opportunities to compete and be successful for businesses located just a few miles down the road. Businesses along FM 407 Commercial Corridor compete every day with businesses in surrounding towns. Keeping our local businesses successful is what we need to do for our town. Diversifying revenue and reducing tax burden on our homeowners. Right? A healthy town should not rely primarily on homeowners for revenue. A strong business community creates stronger financial future for the entire town. Oops, one more here. Economic development and community character can coexist. Double Oak can pursue responsible economic development by preserving its identity. Additional resources can strengthen our town's independence and self-determination. Local control remains in the hands of residents through the voting process. Protecting our character and creating opportunity is not mutually exclusive goals. The objective is long-term financial stability, and stability benefits future generations. Creating opportunity and preserving independence are not competing priorities. They are complementary goals that help secure Double Oak's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Council?
Comment. Tomorrow, Bernie, you're doing a press media event here at Town Hall.
Please come up to the mic so we can capture.
We had planned that, but it was scheduled to be outdoors, and with inclement weather and thunderstorms tomorrow, and we had a logistic issue with one of our contemplated speakers to get him here in time, we canceled it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, let's cancel it. But just call me if any questions you have.
Is it canceled or
So
postponed?
is it canceled or postponed?
Is it postponed or
At this point in
canceled?
time, it's canceled.
Okay.
My point was, anybody who has an interest in alcohol sales, the shopping center, a press conference is just that. It's not, and it's not, obviously, everybody has the opportunity to protest and make their voices heard. But again, recognize we're talking about Bernie Carrico, who's been a member of our community for over 5 years.
Long time. Over 5 years.
So as such, I would expect, you to be treated with the respect that long-term residents would justify.
We start in our 53rd year tomorrow.
That's over 5.
I'm disappointed that it's going to cancel altogether.
So with that said, going to move on, council? All right. We're going to move on to old business agenda, item 6, 19, update on ordinance review project. We have a presentation by Yvonne Gonzalez from Play Strategies. I'm also going to turn over kind of the chair of this session to Pat Wellen, who's working with Yvonne. So.
We'll just turn it over to you.
Oh, great. Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. Yvonne Gonzalez, I'm an urban planner with Play Strategies. Like mentioned, I've been working with the Ordinance Committee and town staff over the last couple months, and wanted to provide a quick update to Town Council, and then also allow you time to ask any questions you might have. I'd start with, what is the project itself? If we can move to the next slide. So a couple different phases in this, but I wanted to break down in a simple way. And so we are reviewing 3 chapters of our ordinances, and so the development code, which includes the building regulations, the subdivision regulations, and the zoning regulations. And so a large part of the ordinance committee is really educational, figuring out what these ordinances mean, what they do, how they work, and how are they practical in real life situations. And so that's been the part of the ordinance committee meetings, I'll go over the full timeline, but the first part of this process was just do a full ordinance review. And I'll talk a little bit about how we did that, but that's the first part. Then the first phase is technical corrections. It's a preliminary report. It's low-hanging fruit in the 3 chapters of ordinances that are what we call scrivener's errors, sections that are maybe misplaced, definitions that are maybe contradicting, things that have over time, these codes were created over, 70s and 80s. They're amended over time at different times, different administrations, different times, decades. Sometimes they change something in one chapter versus another, and they leave, references there that go back and forth. State law changes over time. So these types of changes that are easy and low-hanging fruit that are just technical in nature, not changing content. So that's the first phase. And like Councilmember Pat mentioned, has been given to the town attorney for review. So maybe at the next agenda or the next council meeting, that can be reviewed by the town council. The second phase is really the ordinance diagnostic and presentation. That's the final deliverable, and it includes community feedback and institutional knowledge. We've started doing that process with the ordinance committee. There's certain categories in looking at the diagnostic and looking at these codes, like technical administration, user friendliness for a resident, or, certain things, but then there's also the community-specific items that we work with the ordinance committee on. This isn't my code, this is Double Oaks code. And so we want to make sure we embed that too of, hey, what are the common things that the community has brought up? Let's make sure that we are looking at those codes and those sections in these codes to make sure that these are aligned with what the community has looked at and what they are expecting. And so those are the two phases. And so we're starting to work on that second phase, the ordinance diagnostic. Next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about the project process and the ordinance review, just to kind of give a little insight into how that is done. Next slide. So it's a line-by-line review of all the development ordinances. Again, chapter 3, 10, and 14. 14 is a little weird because it's got 14 and then 14A, which is the actual zoning ordinance on it. But the first item of it is going line by line, identifying all references. There's references in there, that date back to a different water provider or different departments in state law that no longer exist or have been, divvied up in different ways. And then we validate the content and identification of missing content. Sometimes there's ordinance amendments that happen and there's, copy paste stuff, duplicative items and sections in there that are easy to just, redline out. And next slide. So here's kind of just a look at, when we're going line by line, I tend to identify everything, references, definitions, conflicts, or duplicative items, and just identify everything going line by line on these ordinances. Next slide. And then once we've identified all of them, we cross-reference. We just kind of look and see where are these referenced to? Is there a definition tied to it? Has that definition changed? Is it contradicting a definition in a different chapter? And so we take a look at that. We take a look at regulation conflicts, specifically with state law. Again, that changes over time. And so, but local codes don't often change with those. And there's certain legislation that takes a lot of time and case law that may or may not change it back. So, those types of items don't change immediately. And then practical administration mishaps, just, enforceability on some of these sections where, it's just not enforceable. There's no process for it. And so we identify those too. Here's a look at the final project deliverables. So technical corrections, that's the red line version. That's the first step. And so that's already been provided to town staff and town attorney to review. Then we have a review matrix and recommended changes that go with the diagnostic. That's a content-related review. And again, this is all a diagnostic and review. This doesn't change any content, and then this town council will then be able to look at that, ask me questions, and be able to understand that and be like, hey, this looks great. This identifies this. We can take this on from now on. Or Yvonne, hey, can you help us on these sections, but not all of it? That's a town council decision at that time. So this doesn't lock you into any changes whatsoever. And then here's a look at the timeline. We started doing the review in April. We finalized those red line corrections, did a preliminary matrix that we went over with the ordinance committee, and started talking about the community feedback component and what are the common things that keep coming up. Process update today, and then this month we're looking to take a look at that full diagnostic now that we've started talking about the community-specific items that we're looking. That's scheduled for the end of this month. And then July, we're hopeful to have that ordinance diagnostic and recommendations at that point to be able to present to town council. With that, I can take any questions.
So this is basically just an update on this. This is big. Our ordinances are tough. I'll just be nice. We're not the only town that's going through this. Because what's happened is when town ordinances were written 20, 30, 40 years ago, towns had the opportunity to do this. But now our governor steps in and changes things and put it on a state level. For example, if you've lived around here, raise your hand if you lived around here to where if you had a an outbuilding, or if you had a garage that was detached, it had to match the exact same brick as your house. Remember that? Okay? In 2022, the governor said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Developers and homeowners can build with whatever materials they want. Put it in as a state law. But yet, if a developer, like somebody wanted to buy a lot and build a house, our ordinances stay, it's still the old way. But it supersedes, the state supersedes our ordinances. That's a big part of this cleanup. That's just one example. And so this is really important work. I think the committee has done an outstanding job. I think you have done an outstanding job. The deliverable is what's going to matter. So between now and the deliverable, we got to let these folks do their work, and I think they're going to do an outstanding job, and it's really going to help us. Because there's things, quite honestly, and I'm sure that our town attorney may say something, there's things that if we tried to enforce today, that can get us in trouble legally. Would that be correct?
Only one or two.
So this is that cleanup. So stay tuned, folks. There's more to follow on this. We'll be getting it out to you, the same with the council. So council, are we good to move on to the next item?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I am, yes.
Thank you.
Ron, thank you. Thank you for the hard work. All right, we're going to move on to item 8, closed session. Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, the town council will recess into a closed executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code pursuant to the following. Item 20, town council will convene in closed session pursuant to 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, personnel, to deliberate the evaluation of the duties of the town administrator. The discussion will be led by council members Bump, Blesh, but it's going to be led by all of us. And so what I have to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump into closed session. We still have to come back and adjourn, but I don't believe there's going to be anything to report out at that, because it is a personnel matter. So we're not ending the meeting, but we will go into closed session. It is now 9:06. We'll go into closed session. We'll return, open back the meeting, and then adjourn. Okay? So it's 9:06. We'll go into closed session. We are now back, it's 9:23, and we are back in session with our town council meeting. And we have just one more item to cover, and that is our adjournment. So I appreciate all of the efforts tonight, appreciate the citizens for being here, appreciate the comments, and we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.